All right, y'all. We back up in here again, man. We back. I ain't got my glasses, but it's all right, though. We gonna get it popping either way, though. Where my oldest at? Yeah. Get my glasses, y'all. We ain't ready. I got my eyes gonna be messed up. They had my eyes messed up. But nah, man, welcome back, y'all, man. On y'all way in as usual, man. Make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe, share, turn notifications on. All that in the bag of chips, man. We about to get into it tonight. And also, yeah, for y'all that don't know, we got a backup channel, man. We got to get a backup channel because YouTube been on some real funny stuff lately. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the backup channel right here. Make sure y'all do that. I'm going to try to pin that at the top if I possibly can because, yeah. Make sure y'all do that. Either way, though, man, we about to talk about some things, man. Y'all see the title of the video, man. Are white Americans blind to the USA, or are they just like their ancestors? We're going to talk about it today because there's a lot of interesting things that have been going on recently. Clearly, you know, the war, but you know, it's a conflict because, you know, we ain't got boots on the ground. And we're going to talk about some shit that I think a lot of people don't really want to hear about. And that's why I want to give a shout out, a real big shout out to Breaking Point. They really been on top of their game. They really been on their P's and Q's, been getting the information and really getting the stories that a lot of Americans need to hear about and not the cookie cutter stuff that they just put on the major news networks to try to rile up hate and anger and emotions and shit. So we're gonna go to our first video. Shout out to Breaking Points again for this one. Let y'all know what's kind of been going on and why I don't understand why some people try to defend the rich and the wealthy when at every chance they get to fuck you over and make money for themselves, they do it. But you sit around here and advocate that they have a hard time, they get out there creating jobs and all that bullshit. All y'all people, I don't know what's wrong with you, but as usual, get your cigarettes, get your weed, get whatever you need. We about to get into the first one. So let's go ahead and get it. Breaking Point, shout out. Let's get it, y'all. Let's see what we got. I ain't even got that shit on screen. And I got the audio off.
Slide. So we recall yesterday we talked a lot about Trump market manipulation. It turns out that market manipulation definitely worked out for several people, but we don't know any of their names. Let's start with the first one. Let's put it up here on the screen. Here we have from the Financial Times. Traders placed $580 million in oil bets ahead of Donald Trump's social media post on Iran talks. Is that normal?
$580 million, y'all. And he gonna show you the time period in between, but because they say they place these bets on the oil market. Y'all can bet on stuff, whether you think oil's gonna go up, oil's gonna go down, whether it's gonna rain tomorrow, or whatever. So you can literally bet on a lot of things. They bet on this oil shit, and when you see the time frame of when they bet and when Trump actually said something, bro, you know something fishy. $580 million, y'all. 580.
Well, no, apparently it's not. 15 minutes before the Trump post touting productive talks, 6,200 Brent and West Texas intermediate futures contracts change hands between 6:49 a.m. and 6:50 a.m. New York time on Monday, a quarter of an hour ahead of the president's post. $580 million was the notional volume. Trading volumes left at the exact same time, 27 seconds before 6:50 a.m. Futures tracking the S&P 500 jumped in price moments after the oil trade, volumes rising significantly during that time frame. Trump's announcement at 7:04 triggered a sharp sell-off across the global energy markets and jumps in the S&P 500 stock index and European equities as investors dialed back bets on a prolonged conflict. The well-timed trades echo the flurry of large, highly profitable bets made on Polymarket for the timing of the U.S. attacks in recent months on Iran and Venezuela. The White House has denied that they had anything to do with this. The only focus of President Trump and Trump administration is doing what's best for the American people. Well, it just...
Y'all not tracking, bro. It's some insider trading type bullshit going on around here. Somebody in here getting paid. How would you know to sell off or to buy depending on an announcement that the president's going to make in like 15 minutes? How would you know? And it was to the tune of a lot of people to get all the way up to $580 million. Like, really? Either way, though, let's keep going.
It turns out, though, that again, it's not just the Financial Times talking about this. Go to the next one, who CNBC confirming, and actually were the first people to report this, that the volume in the stock and oil futures surged right before the minutes of Trump's market turning post. Exactly at that 6:55 a.m., S&P 500 E-mini futures recorded a sharp and isolated jump in volume. So we don't know the exact profit that these people have made. Some say it could be well over north of $1 billion for what the eventual bet turned out. Of course, the SEC has not responded for comment about whether they'll be initiating an investigation. The CFTC, so these are the macro bets, but there were hundreds of other bets made in poly market, like in other prediction markets, which we're able to trace, which show some level of insider knowledge. Traders at the individual level booking $1 million or so, and these people booking billions potentially. I mean, and who knows? You know, this is only what we know here in our equities markets. Around the world, we have no idea what those countries might be looking into.
And this is just like the blatant obvious stuff too.
These are the people who just, did it. Obviously, who knows what long-term contracts and other people that have out there. And we can't let this go, because I think that this demonstrates a couple of things. This is an undemocratic war. The Congress did not vote for it. The people do not support it. It continues to be advanced on behalf of Israel and then some people here in the United States government. And at the very same time that they are explicitly timing many of their war decisions. Can you imagine trying to schedule D-Day around when the S&P 500 opened? What do we do? And that's the point, is that this is not a war that we're all bought into. It's a war which is being waged almost honestly directly against the interests of Americans. On my way here to work, every billboard, what am I looking at? $3.99 a gallon, $3.99 a gallon, $3.94 a gallon, $4.01 a gallon. I mean, this stuff, it's brutal for everybody who is living this. At the diesel level, what is it now? $5.50, something like that. You got people all over the country who's are getting broken in a single month. We were just looking this morning, 401k withdrawals are at an all-time high. It's a disaster. Mortgage rates at 7. Mortgage rates, I mean, it's like every level across the book, your pocketbook, things are being hurt by this war, on top of our strategic position, everything else. And not, that doesn't even bring in the lives of American service members, 13 already who've been killed. It's a nightmare, and these people are getting filthy
And
rich.
then to add insult to injury, you've got insiders who are making bank. And this is just routine at this point.
I know.
How many times has Trump come out with some market-moving Truth Social that minutes before it comes out, someone's trading, making big and unusual bets, either on Polymarket or on the stock market, that just happen to pan out, happen to come just before he makes the announcement? I mean, you'd be a fool not to see it at this point. It's utterly disgusting. I mean, the stock market is so beyond fake. It's just like a playground for insiders to siphon off even more wealth for themselves at the expense of literally everyone else. I mean, to your point, Sarah, I'm just looking at the national average now. Today, the national average for a tank of gas, regular unleaded, $3.98. And for diesel, we're looking at $5.35. And, as much as you directly feel that regular unleaded at the gas pump, that diesel is the part that really goes throughout the entire economy, and very quickly, because obviously that's what all the truckers are having to pay. And that's going to get passed on. They're going to get squeezed, and then you're going to get squeezed. So it's disgusting. And let me add this. The US SEC's ex-enforcement chief clashed with bosses over Trump cases before leaving, according to sources. This is from Reuters. So I saw someone flag on Twitter that this enforcement chief over at the SEC had just resigned earlier this month, right before, this level of insider trading is clearly happening in conjunction with the war. And so Reuters was able to get the scoop about what was actually going on.
Before she go into the person that resigned, because I want y'all to hear specifically why the person resigned. Literally, this is why people get rich during hard times. When COVID happened, rich people got even richer. During wars, rich people get even richer. People make money, but not me and you. Not me and you. And it's clear as day, like they're doing it with Trump now, and they don't even care. They're doing it right in front of your face. You telling me $580 million moved miraculously on this day at this specific time, and then this announcement just happens? Like, nah, y'all had somebody on the inside to let you know. They put Martha Stewart in jail for doing insider trading. These motherfuckers doing it. She tried to hide her shit. This motherfucker doing it plain as day. And that's just the people that they can even account for. Like, dude, it's crazy how you have Americans out here that defend wealthy, rich people. Like, I literally talked to so many people before the election, and they were Republicans, obviously, and they were arguing that these business owners should get their tax cut dropped. They should get all these subsidies put in place for them. They should, because they're creating jobs. Like, dude, they'll fire your fuck ass if it's gonna save them some money. But you advocating for them to save even more money. Where's the rest of the money gonna come from? It comes from me and you. These people, I ain't gonna lie, man, blind or just like their ancestors. We're gonna figure it out tonight. Let's keep going though. She better let you know about this this person that resigned and resigned on some real shit.
On here, and lo and behold, it was over a lack of enforcement, especially with cases that have ties to Trump and the Trump family. So Reuters reports the U.S. SEC's top enforcement official, who left abruptly last week, had clashed with agency leaders over the direction of its enforcement program, including the handling of cases with ties to Trump and his family, according to 3 people familiar. SEC Enforcement Division Director Margaret Ryan resigned last Monday after just over 6 months on the job. Reuters was first to report her resignation email, seen by Reuters, did not say why she was leaving, and she declined to comment. 2 of the people said Ryan wanted to be more aggressive in pursuing charges for fraud and other misconduct, including in cases that touched the president's circle, but faced resistance from SEC Chair Paul Atkins and other top Republican political appointees. Of course, they deny it. One case they say that sparked tension in particular involved cryptocurrency entrepreneur Justin Sun, a major backer of Trump's family's World Liberty financial venture. That's their crypto grift. Another involved Tesla boss Elon Musk, big donor, of course, of Trump's campaign, who briefly served as the president's special advisor. So there you go. Top enforcement official wanted to actually attempt to do some portion of her job. The head of the SEC was like, no, we're not doing that. At least certainly not where the Trump family or Trump donors are concerned. And she said, okay, I'm out of here. I mean, this is the state of the country right now. This is the state or the lack of enforcement where, white collar crime, especially if you are a Trump donor or Trump family member or Trump associate, is just legal. It's just legal now. And then they want to tell you all about, oh my God, the Somalian fraud, blah, blah, blah. The biggest fraudsters are in the White House. There's zero doubt about it, especially on a dollar for dollar basis.
It would be a lot easier.
All right, man, I got to give her some props for that one, for saying that last part. Where my boy at?
You're goddamn right.
They're doing it right in front of everybody's face. That's why I laugh at the people that voted for the motherfucker and the people that still support the motherfucker. The people that made all the dumbass arguments to justify these type of things happening. Your shit is going up. I just left the grocery store, y'all, before I came to do this show. And I was like, I'm going to get some steak. I wasn't really trying to buy nothing. I had to just really get some oil and some bottled water. But I was like, man, I'm looking around. Let me get some food, too. I'm like, man, I'm looking at the steak prices. And I'm like, for 2 New York strips, $25? Ain't buying that shit. Where the flank steak at? Where the flank steak at? Like, this is crazy. Like, the prices of all this shit is going up dramatically. And, like, these people are still lock hard with, we're going to defend these motherfuckers. These people are fucking you over, bro. You will not have a job eventually. They're working on AI and robots to take your fucking job. But y'all still advocating for these motherfuckers. They fucking up the economy, making it harder for you to get back and forth to work because you got to put all this money out your paycheck in gas. You can't barely even afford a house if you can afford one. It's like, dude, your kid's going to a fucked up school and you still advocating for rich people to keep being rich. They would spit on you. It's like they would spit on you. These fuckers that's doing all this shit in the White House right now, they would spit on you. They'd be like, ugh, yuck, you walked around them. They don't like you. Got Uncanny in the building. He said, what up, Jay? The MAGA people are in denial. Like, yeah, some waking up, but majority of them in denial. This shit right here crazy. I'm gonna let it keep going though, because like, dude, insider trading like a motherfucker. Why are all these people getting rich? They had a problem with Obama making money after he got out of office for doing these speeches and stuff. They don't give a fuck about their president that made over $3 billion since he been in office. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Talk about smelling fraud if you weren't pardoning fraudsters at the very same time and or protecting them.
And personally committing fraud at the same time.
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Also, yeah, I just want to say that. You guys know SEC records can go have look back period, right? One day somebody's actually going to look at this. And I hope somebody goes to jail. I really do. Let's go for B3. Put this up here on the screen. The current market reaction for what we are seeing as of right now. What it currently looks like is that some of the S&P, again, remember, we talk about this stuff early in the morning. S&P 500 futures are pulling back after Monday's rally as oil prices are rebounding. The Iran conflict continues. If I look again, just right now, the Brent futures hovering right around $100 per barrel. And I think West Texas is roughly around 90. So it's going to be a little bit more manageable manageable, and you will likely see a pullback in gas price in midweek and potentially on Sunday. But of course, if there is some
I doubt it.
actual, well, apparently the way this, I'm not talking about like forever, like for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So that's apparently the way that works. Again, not fully an oil genius or anything myself, but I'm trying to do some reading. Let's put B4 up there on the screen. It's from Chevron. And these are the stuff, this is the stuff where people should really freak out. Because when the Chevron CEO says Iran war impact not fully priced in and that traders have scant information, you should think, hey, doesn't he have more information because he runs one of the world's largest energy companies? The CEO cautioned it will take time to restart production that has been dialed back and to repair damaged facilities. Let me just read you directly what he said.
Players make the game.
We got commercials, y'all. We got commercials. Sorry.
What we've learned.
There are very real physical manifestations of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz that are working their way around the world through the system that I do not think are fully priced into the futures curve on oil. What he talks about specifically is that the market is trading on scant information and perception. The physical supply of oil is tighter than the futures contract suggests. We've got a lot of oil and gas now that is not flowing into the market. There really is a difference in terms of physical supply versus prior incidents. So he keeps saying, and every oil analyst that we listen to is like, the market futures are totally pricing in some sort of taco, some sort of event that, if you look at the physical market, doesn't add up. We talked, I think maybe last week, remember about California barrels trading for like $140. We talked about how physical crude oil in Dubai or in UAE that was coming out was trading at like 160. And that's way out of step with where the current futures prices are. And the reason for that is that's the physical oil that's actually there right now, as opposed to what the future bet is on some sort of resumption of flow. But all of the people who are actually in the know don't seem to think that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So for example, let's put United Airlines up here on the screen. This is Scott Kirby, the CEO of United. He put out a memo. This was last week. We plan for oil to hit $175 a barrel and staying above 100 next year as the industry faces the worst shock since COVID. Obviously, that matters for jet fuel. And he, by the way, when he says 175 barrel, he's not talking about jet fuel. He's talking about actual crude oil, which means jet fuel would be trading much higher than that. I mean, 175 a barrel, that's like $6 a gallon, and staying at 100 over the next year. Even 100 is a lot. That's right now. So for the next year, we're all signing up for $4 a gallon. That's, I mean, come on, that's really tough. What I was looking at recently, just this morning, is that for every 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, dude. I got like a 22-gallon tank. Just do the math on that. I filled up like 2 weeks ago just to try to get ahead of this shit, even though I was already behind a little bit. I got like 300 miles left, and I don't be driving a lot. With 22 gallons times fucking 4, like, man, shit. They're gonna be staying at the house.
$1 increase in the price of oil for a barrel, it's roughly 0.3 to 0.4 in terms of its increase on inflation. So think we've already had orders of magnitude more than 10. So we could be at 5% inflation.
Yeah.
Literally 1970s energy shock level stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, people are saying in terms of the like barrel production loss already, it's bigger than the 70s energy shocks. But Rory Johnston, the analyst we've had on before, he made a good point. He's like, listen, so much of the world now can increasingly just be driven by overconfidently posting through it, but not oil, at least not for long. Hormuz flow still has not resumed. Every day we're shedding more oil from the system. That'll catch up. Can't jawbone 10 to 15 million barrels per day stock draws. So he's making the point here, like, yeah, a lot of our economy is fake and based on vibes, like Tesla's valuation as one example, but oil is an actual like thing that exists. It is a commodity. It is a physical good that exists. And you can't just like post your way through it, even though that's exactly what Trump is trying to do at this point and having some success. I mean, I think the, Chevron CEO was like, they're really not pricing in just how much disruption. I think he is correct. I think Rory is correct in saying essentially the same thing. This is going to hit at some point and is going to get worse. You can't just true social your way out of the problem that you have created.
And think about all the downstream effects. So oil is high, which means demand destruction, pullback, high inflation, high interest rates, stagflation, once again, high unemployment rate, high mortgage rates. I could go on for a long time. Pullback in AI, 10% correction in the stock market, 15% correction for the tech industry, mass layoffs across the U.S. economy. I'm just giving.
And look, y'all, for the people that don't do social media, like YouTube and a lot like Facebook, TikTok completely, I think they saw it coming ahead of time. They changed their entire pay structure ahead of this. Like people that were making $3,000 last month, them motherfuckers lucky if they get $13. And you can just go on TikTok and watch people crying about it. YouTube, they just started kicking people off the platform, demonetizing people. They're playing ahead for this, and you be like, these are tech companies. They still got expenses, and they gonna maximize every dollar they need to get at your expense. It's crazy, man.
The whole 1970s playbook. And remember, the only way they solved it was 19% interest rates, which just, I mean, that scarred a generation forever in terms of how they think about finances and I mean, banks, like literally the Federal Reserve. It changed the entire outlook for an entire people. Student debt would climb, debt servicing, education. I mean, the downstream, fertilizer, I haven't even talked about fertilizer, helium, semiconductors, the global supply chain, potential famine, food crisis in the third world, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, already having gas shortages because they all have cooking gas. I mean, you know, this, and so like over here, our problems are just going to be economic. In the rest of the world, like we're talking about life and death.
Yeah.
Being able, and if this extends, remember during COVID with Biden, we would often talk about like there's a significant portion of the country, I think in the Northeast or like way up north, where they still use like heating oil or gas, and that spike like destroyed their heating bills and pocketbooks for a long time. So I mean, you know, I don't want to scare people. I'm pointing out like why it's so imperative to pull the war back as soon as possible. But if these people are to be believed, it doesn't even look like that's even possible. And then we're going to be at some $4 a gallon. Like it seems like the base case is $4 a gallon now for over a year, which is, I mean, really just devastating.
Well, luckily the economy was really great before this.
Right.
So people, I'm sure, have a lot of cushion. They're feeling very confident. They'll be able to weather the storm.
Right. Very true. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Hey, look, I like that they try to put the little bright side on the end, but that ain't the truth for a lot of Americans, man. Just go ask the people that's crying all over the internet right now. Just go ask them, man. A lot of people ain't got they don't have the ability to weather this storm, man. Y'all remember when we covered that one last night? Dude said he missed Uncle Joe. Y'all, he missed Uncle Joe, bro. He want Joe Biden back in there. After he voted for Trump and was probably on that same bandwagon, like, yeah, Biden's fucking the economy up. He ain't fucking up this bad. The sad part, he was really in there fixing the problems that y'all motherfuckers created. But it seemed like that has actually been the case for most Democratic presidents coming in, because like Clinton inherited a bullshit economy when he got it from Bush Sr. Clinton did his fucked up shit. I ain't over here trying to like go hard on like try to prop him up or nothing, but the economy was better when Clinton left than when he got it. Then Bush Jr. got up in there and he fucked the economy up. Y'all know war in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that shit. Obama got in there with a fucked up economy. He left the economy better than when he got it. Then you get Trump in there, and you already seen what happened with COVID the first time. The economy was fucked up. Joe got in there, started fixing it a little bit, and guess what? Trump right back in here again doing the exact same thing most Republicans do. They put more money on the debt, they fucked the economy up, and they wage wars. And that's what we're currently seeing right now. But we're gonna move on from that, y'all. We're gonna move on. We got to slide over to LBC, man. Shout out to LBC, man. I like what the Brits are doing over there, man. Some of the Brits be talking some real shit, and this boy James O'Brien be hitting, bro. James O'Brien be hitting, but he's gonna speak a little bit about what's going on over there overseas right now. And there actually was a caller that called in, had some things that they wanted to say to get it off their chest and shit. And I just want y'all to hear this conversation. But let James O'Brien go. Shout out to the LBC channel. Yeah, let's just go and get to it full screen.
I think it could be over quickly, but the question of how it would be over quickly is almost beyond us at the moment because of what has happened. I think as each day passes, the sheer scale of what they have set fire to and what they have set in motion becomes ever harder to reconcile, up to and including a social media post that Donald Trump released 6 minutes ago that I'm now going to read to you in its entirety, live on the radio. I am pleased to report, and this is, as they would say in brackets, sick, close brackets, SIC, so there's no D on the end of please. President of the United States of America, that suggests that he wrote this himself. I am pleased to report that the United States of America, and the country of Iran, have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, full stop. This is me talking now, not Donald Trump. So the idea of him calling the whole thing off, claiming a glorious victory, and hoping no one ever mentions it again, just saw its odds shorten. That's where the clever money goes halfway through this statement. Let's see where it is at the end, because I'm reading this live. I haven't read this before. You are discovering the contents of this message as I do. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed and constructive conversations, which spelled W. Are we sure this is real? Are we 157%? Because, you know, you've got to be really... Which?
Hey, they literally spell witch, not W-H-I-C-H. They spell that shit W-H-I-T-C-H, like a witch on a broom. It's like, and this from the president's fucking shit. This is his account on True Social. Because, you know, he don't like to tweet no more because he got kicked off of Twitter and he's still mad, even though he's somewhat kind of friends with Elon Musk now, who owns it, you know, whatever the fuck.
Spelled W-I-T-C-H, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So he will pack up, go home, and hope that nobody ever mentions it again, while simultaneously claiming a glorious victory. Wow. That was 6 minutes ago. So, as I said to you at 10 o'clock this morning, in 6 minutes' time, he could release something that pursues the polar opposite position to the one that's outlined here. But in a normal universe, you would welcome that, particularly given the massively increased understanding of the issues that we have as a consequence of the callers to this program today. In a normal universe, you would welcome that. But this is Donald Trump's world now. We're not in Kansas now, Toto. And therefore, you can only say that's good until it isn't. That looks good until he does something else. That looks good until he does a reverse ferret and makes an announcement that pursues the entirely different position. It looks like he's running away, and that has to be welcomed. And you have to probably then, as Keir Starmer, just to remind you how difficult his current situation is, Keir Starmer then has to become complicit in the pretense that Donald Trump has done okay here, because to point out that he's a snivelling idiot who's running away from the problem he caused would be diplomatically unhelpful. For the absolute avoidance of doubt, there is no pleasure whatsoever in seeing your fears realised or your predictions come true. So when I reminded you at 10 o'clock this morning that it is a largely pointless exercise trying to unpick or analyse any situation that Donald Trump is involved with, I wasn't expecting it to come.
There's something the way some of them Brits be talking, man. I just like how the words just come off the tongue, man. I just don't know what it is. I'm letting them keep going.
Quite so catastrophically true quite so quickly. So if you're just joining us, he's posted on social media claims that...
Oh, remember, y'all, that we covered this yesterday, pretty much how he came out and said this shit, put this out there. And this is the shit that they were talking about with the first video, about how he came out with this announcement on True Social. But 15 minutes before he came out with this announcement, all these motherfuckers started buying stock or selling shit in the exact same industry that, but remember, we talked about it yesterday, it could be a pump fake, because you remember the Iranians came out and said, nigga, we ain't talking to you. We don't know what the fuck you talking about. We ain't been speaking to you, bro. We stand 10 toes down on what we said from the beginning. Y'all niggas need to get the fuck out of here, and we need this, and this. They even asking for reparations. I ain't gonna hold them. They should get some. And we should get ours before them, but you know, either way though. But nah, I'm gonna keep going. Because we spoke on this a little bit.
The United States has reached an accommodation with Iran that would involve or regards a complete and total resolution of hostilities in the Middle East. Something I suggested to you was the best case scenario for all concerned. He packs up and goes home, and nobody ever mentions again what a disaster it has been. Caveat number one, I don't think he's got much influence over Benjamin Netanyahu anymore. So if Benjamin Netanyahu wants to carry on killing Iranians and indeed people in Lebanon, then I'm not sure Donald Trump has got the agency to stop him. And caveat number two, the biggest caveat of all, the constant caveat, is that he might say the polar opposite in 30 seconds' time. And I wish that wasn't true, but you know that it is. The only mystery remaining is how on earth people who do what I do for a living, or indeed are in the British political establishment, could ever have thought that Donald Trump was somebody that they should be supporting, or somebody that the Keir Starmer should be getting into bed with, or could ever have thought that he had a plan, a clear and viable plan, or a legal rationale. And these are some of the biggest names in UK commentary and in UK politics. Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage, all of these people who looked at what we looked at and thought, yeah, we should definitely be jumping into Donald Trump's pocket. He's our guy. He's our man. Dick Littlejohn in the Daily Mail, writing about he'd never been more ashamed to be British than as a consequence of Keir Starmer's decision not to get involved in an illegal war that has failed and which Donald Trump, as of now, looks set to abandon in a deeply humiliating fashion, albeit that he'll pretend it's been a glorious victory, just like he did 9 months ago. When he obliterated all of Iran's military capabilities just 9 months before having to go to war against them because Iran's military capabilities were so great. I am pleased to report. That makes no sense. And detailed and constructive conversation. I mean, who wouldn't trust a man who can't spell witch? to conduct detailed, in-depth and constructive conversations with the Iranian regime. But that's the best we've got at the moment. That is literally the best we've got, is the hope that he's telling the truth, even if he can't spell which. So do you want to react live to that? I'll read you the whole thing again, and then I'll remind you of the phone number, and then we'll talk to Taz, who's in Haywards Heath, about the question that's already on the board, and you can tell me, what do you make of this? I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country...
And look, we already heard him read it again, so let's get the call up in here, y'all. This is very interesting. I love the way because some of these people be calling in, be from the UK, and they got some dummies over there too. But I want y'all to see this shit. Let's listen to this shit.
This is in Haywards Heath. It's almost out of date, the question we were asking at 10 o'clock this morning, Taz, but we'll press on regardless. What would you like to say?
Oh, yeah. Hi, James. First time caller.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. I think, I think Donald Trump, I think, is an absolute lunatic. He's been pulled by the nose by Netanyahu, in my opinion.
How dare you say that? Dick by name Little John in the Daily Mail wants him to be the government of this country. He wants to be ruled by him. What an outrageous slur on an obviously brilliant leader.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, Netanyahu has been trying to get a war with Iran for 40 years. And, he's finally found a president who's got an ego that's so big he can effectively manipulate him and pull...
That was what Marco Rubio said in the first days of this excursion or incursion or war or whatever they're calling it today. That was what Marco Rubio said. So you definitely have a lot of support for that analysis. Yeah,
but the problem is, in dint of him pulling America into it, he's pulling us into it. And my view is that Scott Starmer shouldn't support the Americans in their war with Iran. I think mediation has to be the solution.
What if he already is?
Said what you just said about the fact that Trump seems to be pulling back on another threat.
What if it is? What if that conversation that he had with Keir Starmer is the reason why he's decided to call the whole thing off?
Yeah. I think.
If Alistair Campbell was in Downing Street, that would already be going around to every newsroom in the country. I think that this is a massive victory for Keir Starmer, and it might be. Yeah. He said to him, "Look, you can't. It's not doable. Even if we wanted, I'd really love to." But it's not doable. Whatever anybody else is telling you, it can't be done. The only way you get Hormuz open is by packing up and going home. You cannot fight your way. This is what Ash in Northampton explained so brilliantly. Someone has, for now, because we all fall into the trap of thinking that it's worth analysing this as if it's casting concrete when he could undo the whole thing in 30 seconds' time. But for now, this is the best case scenario, and the best available explanation of why it's happened is somebody has finally managed to prevail upon him that he can't. I nearly swore then. He can't BS his way out of the Strait.
He can't bully his way out of this. He can't bomb his way out of this. He can't. He didn't think. They didn't think. But remember, he's the one who makes all the decisions, so he's the one who has to take the L. He's the great strategist and all this. Donald Trump knows more than everybody else in the room. He knows better than the generals, the experts, everybody. He has to take the L on this one. And dude, you're going to have to knock them off the map if you think you're going to win. If you really believe that you can win it, the only way you're going to win it is knocking them off the map. And you can't do that. Because if you do that, bro, y'all can just go ahead and chalk it up. Just chalk the game up, bro. America about to get fucked up by some people. We can't fight everybody. And y'all see that even with just this little shit that we got going on right now, even though we got 13 service members that done died, bro, we bleeding money right now. The economy's fucked up. Americans are already mad about the price of everything anyways. He's increasing that fucking strain on people while not winning anything. What is the benefit for us to even be over there? That's what I really be tripping when I be talking to some of these Republican folks and they support this shit. I'm like, what does America benefit from this? I hear some of them say, well, we ain't got to worry about Iran having a nuclear weapon. Why the fuck you give a fuck if Iran had a nuclear weapon? But also, didn't he just destroy their nuclear capabilities in December and shit? Y'all remember when y'all was cheering that on? So what the fuck is the point of this war? It's crazy that we have some people that will support this shit. And all it's doing is just fucking the goddamn country up, and it's fucking the world up too, because he can't win this battle, bro. You can't win it unless you're willing to knock these people off the map, to drop a nuke on their head. You're not going to stop them folks because they not going to give the fuck up. You extend it. You're over there in their land. They're in their land. It's like, nigga, I had to drive over here to come over here and bring all this shit. Every time I got to bring them this, so I got to bring more over here, more over here, more over here. They're right where they are. They don't have to go anywhere. They're defending where they are. You got to spend all this bread. And your people over here ain't happy about this shit right now. Y'all happy because I ain't happy about it. But I'm letting him keep going, though.
Hormuz, he just can't do it. It's not doable. So your only option is to pretend that you've won and go home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about trust, though. The trust, the Iranians clearly don't trust the Americans. I mean, they were bombed, a few months ago, and then they were having discussions. There was mediation about the nuclear element, and then they decided to bomb them again, attack them again. So, as far as the Iranians are concerned, I suppose they're going to be thinking, well, what's to stop them doing it again? So, I think at this stage they've decided it's cool.
That common sense. Ain't that what we said last night? Why the fuck would the Iranians trust anything that comes out of the White House? I was talking to you before, and then you bombed our nuclear sites in the middle of talking to y'all, and that's when Trump claimed that he decimated their nuclear sites. Then, okay, a couple months go by, whatever the hell, we talking to y'all again about a nuclear deal, and next thing you know, you and Israel bomb us again during negotiations. Why would they trust any fucking negotiation from the United States when the last 2 times they tried to, y'all bombed them? Any person with common sense will put 2 and 2 together. I'm glad this gentleman can, but a lot of other folks walking around here in America don't seem to get that shit. They don't seem to get it.
Bust, as it were.
And they get to claim a victory as well, of course. The Iranian regime, the removal of the Ayatollah and much of the high command notwithstanding, Iran will be a more dangerous place for dissident Iranians than it was before Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu started bombing it, and therefore, from the point of view of the Iranian regime, this is a glorious victory against the Satan or the Satans of the West. That is how they'll sell it, and they're probably going to have a stronger case to claim victory than Donald Trump will, even as they both do a lap of honor. Wow. What's the nickname that they give him? Is it Taco? T-A-C-O? What is that? Is that Trump always chickens out? Trump always chickens out. Do you know, I doubt that they listen to this program, he says, with extraordinary self-importance. But you'd almost try to caution people who are on the right side of history, people who aren't writing columns for the Daily Mail about how they've never been more ashamed to be British. You'd almost sort of say to people who called everything right here, don't call him a chicken. Because, he'll just have another hissy fit. Just let him have a lap of honor, right? Let him. I mean, I don't know who's listening to this, but if you are minded to point out that once again Donald Trump has proved himself to be a massive chicken, don't do it. Don't do it, because, he'll just start clucking someone else, won't he? So, I mean, you can't do that. And, of course, we will point out that he appears to have chickened out until he releases a Truth Social statement saying the polar opposite of the one that he released 2 minutes ago. Thank you, Taz. Guy is in Richmond. Guy, what's going on?
I told your ass, Uncanny, you over here sitting around talking, we gonna fuck, bro. Hey, no, we're not. We're not. Look, we didn't even win in Iraq and Afghanistan. Iran is bigger than both of them. And that $200 billion that he asked for the other day for this thing that he already supposedly won, that's more money than we spent in Iraq and Afghanistan over all those years. What he was asking for to deal with Iran was more than what we spent dealing with them. That's it, man. Look, war ain't fought the same way. You say, he said they did bomb his family, ain't no peace treaty. Again, the fucked up shit is like, that could be it, but you can also rationalize some shit to a certain extent. If let's say he cared about his people in the country or whatever, because they always try to portray it like they don't care about their citizens. They slaughtered their citizens. Y'all did the same shit in America. What are you talking about? I'm just saying, like, if it's good for the goose, it should be good for the gander. I say it's wrong all the way across the board, but I don't think America has the high ground to sit there and wave his finger at somebody and say, we're doing this because he killed his citizens. Y'all did that shit too. And y'all did it for a lot longer than they've been doing it. Y'all still doing it right now. We see cops shooting people in the back all the time. Y'all justify it. Just because it wasn't 1,000 people at one time, and shit, it's 1,000 people in a year easily. It's still a problem. But let's see what the next caller got, man. Let's see what the United States wasn't built for this type of war, bro. That is a mountainous region. Like, fuck, they want to get off the boat, nigga. They got to go through some mountains to get to this shit, bro.
Yeah, hi, James. I think the taco cutting in hasn't made much difference to the fundamentals that Ash, our humble merchant seaman, told us about. Because, if we want a guide for what's going on at the moment, we only have to look at the analogue across the way that, think out of the water body. Ukraine has bottled up the entire Russian Black Sea fleet with the effective use of remote-controlled boats filled with explosives, despite being pelted daily by Russia's finest. So, nothing's really changed. the only way you're going to get shipping through the Hormuz is if the Iranians and the Omanis want you to. And we mustn't forget it's two-sided, the Straits of Hormuz.
Of course.
We've got Oman equally on the other side, but Oman's not blocking anyone, of course. But it has to be the goodwill of the two people either side of the passage. And the only way out is really what the TACO has done for us. But they still retain control over it.
Which is why it is, if things stay like this, and they could have changed by the time we come off air, they could have changed by the time we finish this conversation, because Donald Trump is involved, then Iran has a much greater claim to victory than Donald Trump does, albeit that we will allow him to claim a victory, because it's a bit like giving a rusk, isn't it, to a teething toddler. And Iran, this is the bit where I hope...
Man, I swear for Lord, bro, they just be putting some words together. A teething toddler, y'all. Call that man a teething toddler. I wouldn't expect no American to come up with that insult, but I like it. Teething toddler.
Which is wrong. It is in Iran's interests to return to where we were before this war started, even if their ability to trust the negotiating process with the United States or Israel or both has been destroyed beyond any recognition. It's still in their interest to return to the status quo because, it's in their economic interest to have these ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz.
Sure. So Iran has tossed the TACO a rusk.
Yes.
Am I getting my TACO rusk?
No, that's correct. They've tossed the TACO a rusk.
Thank you very much. And by the way, my next piece of business is Cuba. So they have bought themselves some time because you'll go on somewhere else. In the meantime, the Persian Gulf remains the Persian Gulf. And
wonder if that'll be the actual final straw for some Trump supporting Republicans. Like, let's say he pull out of Iran because it ain't going too well for him, and then literally a month later, this motherfucker in Cuba. I wonder if that'll be the final straw for some of these folks. I know it won't be for a lot of them, but I want to see how many gonna jump off the ship then. It's like, oh, so you kidnapped the Venezuelan president, you threatened to steal Greenland, you go bomb Iran, and now you're in fucking Cuba. It's like I would love to see how they would react to that shit. Because I got a feeling he still might do it, bro. Because I don't think he give a fuck. He need to get into a war if he want to do his third term shit. There's only one way that he can actually do a third term, and that's if he just cancels all elections because we're in the midst of a war. Like a heated war. He can actually use that presidential power. So he might, I don't know, man. I don't know. He keep joking about a third term, and they've been asked about a third term, and they all support it. So it's like...
under control. So I think actually our humble Ash is right. We need to go back to saying, what are the alternative export routes for hydrocarbons out of
so the long term. The two things long term that anybody sensible would be looking at would be sustainables, of course, because our dependence upon fossil fuels, if it hadn't been highlighted by Ukraine, where Guys Call began, then it's certainly been highlighted by this. But of course, the kind of people who...
Think about this, y'all. For the Republicans, for the people on the right, when Joe and Obama were trying to go to a more electric type fucking society where we wanted to do renewable energies like wind, water, hydroponics, not hydroponics, that's fucking fishing and shit. I forget the other one I'm looking for. But other energies outside of just burning coal and burning diesel and shit. They fought against it. No, we're bringing back coal. Drill, baby, drill. All that shit. Now you suffering because that's all you depended upon. You took away the subsidies for electric vehicles. Now you got people in the UK talking about boycott American. They not buying Teslas. They not buying Nikes. They not buying goddamn Victoria's Secret and shit. They going into the grocery store. They see them Lay's chips. They be like, fuck them hoes. Like, they really on some type of time. Like, you built your whole economy to be built off of one industry just to save these oil execs who gave you money during your campaign. And now you're at a war that's literally fucking up the oil prices, and it's going to fuck you in the midterms. Like, Republicans, I hope that they know it don't look good for y'all in the midterms. It's about to be a blue fucking wave on y'all ass. For the people that actually got some goddamn common sense. Now, y'all diehard dummies, y'all going to vote the way y'all vote regardless. But a lot of people are pissed the fuck off. A lot of independents that voted on the right, they pissed off. They don't like the way this shit look right now. I'm gonna let him finish the last little bit off. We gotta go to something because I gotta get to the ancestor part.
Sing the praises of Vladimir Putin and love Donald Trump are also the people who insist that we need more fossil fuels, when the only lesson you draw from an episode like this is that we should be less reliant on them, because then we can't get held hostage by events like this. And if it's not the stuff passing through the Strait of Hormuz that is teaching you a lesson, then it should be the fact that it has to pass through the Strait of Hormuz that is teaching you a lesson, which is why Guy suggests, and Ash suggested earlier, that we would need alternative...
Yeah, the shit got to go through there. And a lot of people don't understand that 20% of a supply chain getting fucked up can fuck that supply chain up. It don't take a lot to fuck up something. And a lot of people in this world that are very dependent upon oil. Like straight up. They're dependent upon that shit. But we gotta switch it up, y'all. We gotta switch it up. I ain't even gonna hold you. We about to do a little change of pace, y'all. A little change of pace. Shout out to the boy XO, y'all. Shout out to the boy XO for this one. Because we're gonna be reacting to his video, man. Interesting title if y'all ready for it. Black people are the most hated group in America. How many of y'all agree with that or disagree with that? Black people are the most hated group in America. I think it's a true statement. But I'm gonna let him break it down. I'm gonna let him break it down real quick, like, because we got some issues around here. And I like the way XO be breaking this shit down. So check it out. Let's get it.
Let me say this clearly, because people love to pretend this isn't real. Black people are the most hated group in America. Somebody right now is racing to their keyboard, ready to hit me with a "y'all are always playing victim" type of take. I can feel you through the screen, little bro. Chill out. Because y'all gotta remember, hatred isn't just slurs or violence. It's narratives, blame, and how a country talks about you when you're not in the room. And in America, no group gets blamed, scrutinized, generalized, and villainized more consistently than Black people. Gotta be honest, right? Every major issue in America somehow gets traced back to us. Whether it's crime, poverty, division, or the country falling apart, somehow it's always us.
Why do you think Black people are 13% of the population, commit 50% of the crime, but only contribute 5% to the GDP?
Black fatigue. It's all over my FY.
And y'all, just so y'all know, when people be saying that dumb shit, 13% of the population but commits 50% of the crime, that's a bullshit ass lie, not even proven with stats. And the sad part, the one that they want to go to is from 2019, where they talked about Black people accounted for the arrests, a certain amount of arrests, and it wasn't even 50%. But also, look who's the number one group that's the most exonerated from fucking prison for crimes they didn't commit. Black people. So I'm like, but here you go. This is racist ass motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie though. When I be seeing people that look like these motherfuckers, I can just see the devil. I can see the devil inside of them. I can see the devil inside this motherfucker eyes, y'all. Look at this white dude.
Black fatigue. It's all over my.
He just looked like he a hanger nigga. Like, he just looked like he would, bro. Or he'll be in the crowd eating some popcorn while it's happening.
FYP page. Thank you. I am so happy that this is being brought up. And oh, by the way, for us white people that have been around the block a long time, this isn't new to us. We've been dealing with this for over 40 years.
A white woman who was purchasing something.
Oh my God, they've been dealing with Black people for over 40 years. Oh my God.
It's the claim that a young Black child sexually assaulted her. Surveillance video.
Now, y'all remember this shit, man? This shit was so funny. Now, if GoFundMe and all that shit was actually popping like it is now, then they probably would have raised $1 million for this white lady. Because she literally called the police on this little Black kid up there in New York or some shit and talking about he grabbed her ass. Listen to her again. And then watch the video. They're going to show y'all the surveillance footage. Because the whole hood showed up when the dude played the video for her stupid ass.
Child sexually assaulted her. Surveillance video obtained by Pix11 from inside the Sahara Deli appears to vindicate the young boy, clearly showing
you can't grab a flat ass. I'm just gonna say that right now, y'all. It is impossible to grab a flat ass, and that's a flat ass bitch right there. But she said this little kid grabbed her ass. What ass?
Him walking by, rushing out to leave with his family.
And the crazy part is, we've never oppressed anyone. People will bring up the African kingdom when they hear me say that, but it didn't create a world system where Africans dominated continents, extracted wealth worldwide, or enforced racial hierarchy. We don't have a history of colonizing countries. We didn't build empires off of genocide. We didn't steal land across the globe. And we definitely didn't enslave entire races of people. White America constantly shifts the narrative away from its own history and places it on us. Instead of dealing.
Yeah, like right now, y'all, you already know they don't want to talk about Trump. They want to talk about they want to talk about the illegals. They want to talk about the Iranians. They want to talk about everybody else. But I'm like, you the one that went to somebody else's country and dropped the bomb on them. But they the bad guys. If you know your past, you will actually be able to recognize and understand what the fuck is happening in front of you. But if you don't, you constantly repeat that shit and be cheering it on. Like these dumbass folks that cheer this shit on, dude. They don't know their past. They don't know their history. And then on top of that, even if they do, some of them don't even give a fuck.
with colonialism, slavery, genocide, exploitation, etc., the focus always becomes black crime, black culture, black behavior, black attitudes. Because if the country actually sat with the full history of white supremacy, not the brainwashed version that they tried to feed you, not just in America, but globally, the whole system of white superiority would completely collapse. So instead, black people get turned into the scapegoat. If they can successfully convince everybody that we're the biggest threat to society, then they don't have to question who built the system in the first place. So let's talk about history for one quick second, right? We all know slavery was horrific. And honestly, me saying that is an understatement. It wasn't just forced labor. It changed the entire balance of the world. It created wealth for white nations and instability everywhere else. Colonialism destroyed cultures, borders, language all across Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America, and Asia as well. As you know, millions of people died. But honestly, I don't want to focus too much on slavery in this video, because that needs a whole other video dedicated towards it, not just a quick 2-minute segment. You get what I'm saying? But even after slavery, the violence didn't stop. For some reason, that just was not enough for them. If we totally disregarded all of the evil that was done to us, you'll start to notice a pattern throughout history. We are not the only people that they have terrorized on a consistent basis. Ours is way more consistent than other people's, but they do this to other groups as well. Of course, it's not as bad. Nowhere near it. You got things like the
he about to show y'all some goddamn sick ass shit. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all didn't know about it, but when they were trying to test out these nuclear weapons, these nuclear bombs, dude, they were doing that shit on people. Just like when they were trying to figure out about syphilis, they gave that shit to black soldiers. Like, just look at this shit, and they like don't give a fuck about it.
Massacre, where U.S. soldiers murdered unarmed Vietnamese civilians.
American soldiers gunned down more than 500 unarmed civilians in a village called My Lai. The dead were women, old men.
Oh, got a commercial. Don't buy a PlayStation. It ain't cracked up. It ain't what it's cracked up to be. But y'all heard what he just said, though, right? How many people?
It's like the My Lai massacre, where U.S. soldiers murdered unarmed Vietnamese civilians.
American soldiers gunned down more than 500 unarmed civilians in a village called My Lai.
Now, if you just happen to have some people that survived or weren't around when that shit happened, that were actually Malayan or whatever the hell, the Vietnamese, and they were yelling and chanting, "Death to America," would you be one of them people that say, yeah, they said death to America, let's go kill them? But they say that because you just murdered over 500 of them. Unarmed, women, children, and old men. I don't think they would be wrong for saying that.
The dead were women, old men, children.
170 people were marched down in there. Women, old men, babies. GI stood up on the side with their weapons on full automatic and machine gun fire.
There were no weapons captured. There were no draft age males killed. They were civilians.
Nuclear testing on Bikini and Etobicoke atolls, where indigenous people were displaced and poisoned for years. They literally tested nukes at their homes, bro. That's crazy. And after their homes were used for nuclear testing, they saw higher cancer rates, abnormal birth defects like extra fingers, extra toes, big heads, clear skin that you could see all of their organs through, and a lot of other horrific side effects that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Some babies were born without limbs. There was an instant where there was a baby with no arms or legs and no head. The skin was transparent and they could see all the organs beneath the skin. This baby was born with white hair and no ears and no genitals.
You also have...
I don't see this shit. And the reason he's trying to push this point right here is that we literally have well, it goes to the video. Black people are the most hated group in America. We're demonized for the things that happen in this country. And are there things that the black community needs to fix, individuals need to fix? Hell yeah. I believe that's the case for all groups. But our group does not have a history of doing this evil type shit to people. But the people that do have the history of that are telling everybody else that these people are the bad people. It don't even make fucking sense, but we have so many people of different ethnicities that buy into that white supremacy bullshit when they come to America and they hate black people. I'm like, black people ain't the reason that you left your fucking country and came to America. These same white people who dick you sucking fucked your country up. That's why you left and came over here. Like, it makes no goddamn sense. We don't have the history of doing any of this shit. But somehow, some way, we're labeled as the evil motherfuckers, the bad ones, the ones you need to always be looking out for. Ask Iran who the fuck they worrying about, who they need to be looking out for you. Ask them black people or white folks. I bet money they're gonna pick white folks.
have coups, invasions, and destabilization across the globe. Listen, I know a lot of y'all racists hate us, right? But y'all literally went into Venezuela and kidnapped their president. Y'all just said, forget sovereignty, huh? That's not even a thing no more, right? That's crazy. I want you to sit back and think about that for 1 second. What if another country invaded the US and kidnapped our president? All feelings aside about how you may feel about him and his policies, right? Most of us here don't even see that as a possibility. So imagine if it became a reality. If something like that was even attempted, it would be an all-out war. And you know I'm telling the truth. Like that's not crazy to y'all that y'all just went into another and captured a president? That's wild. But when y'all do it, it's okay, right? That's real power abuse. But somehow black people are framed as the danger? That don't make sense. Now let's talk about violence, because people love to bring this up. Every time there's a crime involving a black person, it becomes a reflection of all of us. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something petty or it could be something major. But when violence comes from somebody in the white community, it's lone wolf, mental health, an isolated incident, right? It's different then.
A. Adam Lanza shot and killed 20 first graders and 6 educators. The report says he had profound mental, emotional, and developmental challenges.
He had a history of mental illness and had become physically aggressive, throwing a chair and glass across the room.
Hard was experiencing an acute mental health episode in the months before Wednesday's massacre.
Most of the mass shooters in this country are white males, but nobody says white culture is violent. No one blames white communities as a whole, and no one suggests that white people need to do better as a group. We just send our thoughts and prayers to the victim and keep it pushing until the next tragedy happens. No accountability at all. And that tells you everything you need to know about the double standard. If most of them were black, oh my goodness, it would have been total, they would have been losing it. It would have been crazy, right? In my opinion, black people in America are easy.
Man, they would have changed laws when the Black Panthers were marching around with semi-automatic guns, trying to protect their community from the white cops and white people that used to come in there and fucking destroy their shit. What do? We got an assault weapons ban now. And that's just from people just defending their community, not harming folks, just defending their community from people that would come into their community and harm it. But this shit, they actually out here murking people. Can't do nothing about it. Can't do a goddamn thing about it.
To hate for one reason. Just us being here contradicts their entire narrative. This country loves to talk about freedom, but while it was being built, we were enslaved the whole time. It likes to talk about equality like it was always meant for everyone, but we were deliberately excluded from it and still are to a certain degree. And it talks about justice even though the legal system has historically been used to criminalize us instead of protecting us. Our existence exposes their lies. So instead of fixing the system, it just attacks the people that expose it. What also makes people uncomfortable is the fact that despite everything that was done to us, Jim Crow, slavery, redlining, mass incarceration, environmental racism, and other things that are still being done to this day, we did not disappear. We're still here. And instead of acknowledging our existence, America just framed it into entitlement and victimhood. But victims don't usually get blamed for everything in society. Targets do. Y'all gotta understand. America needs black people to be seen as the villain. This is very necessary for them, because if we aren't, then the system has to explain itself. And once people start asking who made the rules, who controls resources, who benefits, that's when things start to get uncomfortable for them, because they lose control over the narrative. So instead of dealing with that, it's just easier for them to put the blame on us. That narrative makes it easier for them to justify a lot of things that they do, even if it's complete BS. It don't matter. It's how environmental racism keeps happening, for example, without people noticing or even making a big deal about it. It's why toxic sites get placed in their black neighborhoods, why polluted water gets ignored, and why our community.
Oh, and just make sure you remember, and I said this shit, when people allow bullshit to happen to other folks that eventually start happening to them, a lot of white folks are bitching now because y'all are perfectly fine with them building interstates and factories and sewage plants and all this shit close to where the black people stayed at. Well, now they building these goddamn supercomputer goddamn buildings. I forget what they like to call them. It's a term they use for them, but y'all know that process all this information. They moving around white folks areas, and the white folk pissed off. You know why? Because your light bill done went up. Your water bill done went up, and your air's a little polluted. You don't like that shit. Well, you allow them to do it to the black folks, and now they done pretty much perfected how to do it to anybody. Now they're going to do it to you because you're poor. Welcome to the game, baby. Welcome to the game, EA Sports. It's in the game, baby.
communities are treated like they're disposable. If black neighborhoods are already seen as the problem, then neglect doesn't look like neglect anymore. It just looks normal. And harm doesn't look like harm. It looks justified. So the focus stays on us instead of the policies and decisions that put us in those conditions in the first place. You see how that works? And that same mindset spills over into everything else that we deal with. Policing, schools, housing. As long as we're framed as a problem, the system never has to take accountability or responsibility for
the things they do. He's 100% correct. I had to get that one out, man, because it trips me out the way some people really view the situation that goes on in America, and I trip out because I ain't gonna lie, especially the people that come in, immigrants and shit, like come in and they speak on black folks. Like, it's just crazy to me, and I'm about to show y'all something because I'm like, dude, y'all be trying to like put us into a box as if. You know what them white folks be telling y'all. Like, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what them white folks be telling y'all. Like, I don't know if it's just propaganda of the media, because we don't control our own media, so we can't really control our image as much. Like, on here, we can kind of control it a little bit, but this isn't worldwide as much as like what people see in movies and TV shows and shit. But we don't control our image. So we're always portrayed as a certain type of way. You remember the black dude was always the dummy. That was always a good help person or whatever the hell, but not besides that, you can trust that motherfucker to do a goddamn thing. It always need the white savior. You know, they got that white savior complex shit. That white, great white hope. That's what they like to say. Not white hope, great white hope. Had that motherfucker in the movie leading this shit off. But I ain't even gonna stress it. Because for my immigrant folks, I got one for you. We're gonna talk about the mafia a little bit, and then we're gonna get the fuck up out of here. Because Antonio Talk's about to tell you something, and I think it's pretty interesting. I think it was a pretty interesting breakdown of this simple fact, because like how what you call it, Ixo just said in the last video, when we do something, it's not portrayed the same way as if a white person did it. It's always like, okay, it's worse when a black person does it. It's always worse. Like, a black person kill one person in a fight, self-defense, whatever the hell, criminal. White dude go murder 3 people. Well, he had mental illness problems. I want y'all to see something, because they do it when it comes to the movies and all this shit. Check it out.
So today's video, I want to talk about the double standards between the mob and traditional black gang members. Now, for one, let me get this out. I don't support the actions of any of these groups. For some reason, a good bit of people think that I enable bad behavior in the black community, or I don't hold black people accountable. What y'all got to understand is that, man, when I made my channel, my approach is extremely different from anyone else. I try to see things years ago to see why things are the way they are. So when I come online and it seems like I am drafting into that army, I ain't got our business out there. If we're going to have to address that structured and positive. Fast forward.
All right, here we go. Yeah, we can start right here, man. I don't want to hear all that shit.
Have to address that. Now, when I want to talk about black gangs, right? And these started as positives. They were about protecting the communities against police, doing things for the community and keeping everything in order. Like back in the day, it was ranks. It was all structured and positive. Fast forward to 2026, man, and it's just a whole bunch of young, dumb niggas killing each other.
Why don't gangs be organized like the mafia? Man, let's go. To be honest, gang, when gangs first started out, bro, they was exactly like the mafia. Gangs have rankings, leaders. You had to have certain qualities and learn literature to even join the gang in the first place. But that shit all went away when the government actually seen like how powerful gangs could actually become. So they did everything in their power to break structure of the gangs. This is when they started putting the leaders of the gangs in jail, the second in command, anybody of importance that can take over the gang once the select few is already in jail. And by select few, I mean the hundreds of gang members they put on the RICO charges, because they did a few of them motherfuckers for sure. After the government was done with gangs wasn't nothing but probably majority foot soldiers, no doubt. A foot soldier is basically like one of the lowest ranks in the gang. For an example, for a civilian standpoint, let's just say you get hired as a cashier at McDonald's. Now, you have to get promoted the next fucking day to own the whole fucking franchise. Like, you don't know how to run a franchise for real. You was just a cashier. So they had to learn as they go, which gave us the gangs that we see today. For real.
Now let's get into the double standards of, gangs versus the mob or the mafia. A lot of times in media, these people, they talk down on gangs, obviously because of how they are now. But the mob, I mean, they are a bunch of fucking thugs, right? They are thugs dressed up in suits. So I guess that's why they don't seem like thugs. These people were drug dealers, rapists, sex traffickers. I mean, they was doing some of the most degenerate things that you can imagine. And for some reason, bro, worldwide, people, I won't say glorify the mafia, because people do glorify gangs worldwide, but it's like, it's just a different type of respect that when people bring up the mafia versus, you know, the blood or the Crips. So right here we have a tweet, man.
It's more elegant. It's like more sophisticated. That's the way people like to think about it. The cartel, the goddamn mafia, the mob, whatever you want to call them. They just look at it as more sophisticated. You know, black people do it. It's like, nigga beating his chest type shit, sell drugs. It's like, nah, bro.
It says, as an Italian, y'all need to stop romanticizing the mafia because it is that deep. It's not fiction. It's real. It's not a book genre. Women are, you know what, children are, you know what, poisoned, drowned. So take a moment to think about this and just stop. And right here we have he's dressing up like I guess a mobster. And then another one, right? This post ended up getting over 45,000 likes, but I really like the quote tweet that someone made. They said, you know, the romanticization of the mafia, Yakuza, the cartel, etc., paired with the simultaneous demonization of gangs like Crips, Bloods, and more say a lot about the way gang violence is seen as hot. It's not black. And you literally see this romancing of the mafia and the mob with all of the media. I'm not gonna lie, I love the Mafia series, the games, right? Mafia 1, 2, and 3. Shout out.
Never played it.
To Mafia 3, you get to kill goddamn KK members in that game. But this is a way of glorifying the mafia. All of the movies, you know, the Goodfella, the Godfather, all that types of stuff. And even when you hear people speak about them, right, it's always so highly, like I said, because they were dressed in suits. Okay, nigga, the most evil people ever were dressed in suits. All them people on them Epstein files were dressed in suits. But y'all want to demonize a nigga for wearing a hoodie. Big shout out to my little brother Hoodie too. A lot of y'all been asking. I'm gonna put his page on the screen. This is my blood little brother. Okay, he's the GOAT. But this is what I mean when I bring up the inconsistencies of things, right? I'm not enabling behavior, but I'm just pointing out the flaw in what y'all really pointing out. And I want y'all to just be honest on what it is, but you don't like black people. It's the same.
And that the point that I think you can say a little bit better for him. You say you don't like this, but then you also turn a blind eye to your own people doing shit that's worse. How can you say you really have the passion and the moral ground to stand on and say this is wrong when you don't say nothing about this, and that's actually even worse? You're a hypocrite, pretty much. And we got a lot of hypocrites running around here.
Same thing with black fatigue. A group of black people acting out, you point the whole race out, but we see what happened with them Epstein files. All white people. Nobody says white fatigue. Why is that? That's all I be saying. If we can keep the same standards, okay, cool. We can come together as a human race and be like, okay, we got some fucked up individuals. We need to work on this. But even with black people, bro, y'all have to understand, like I said, all of this shit was planned.
Outsmart the market with Base 44 super agents.
We got commercials.
Set up in seconds. And
right, they done, you know what I'm saying? It's literally all planned.
Okay. Now it's starting to get really.
Now we about to hear something. Y'all, if y'all want to go check this man channel out, no bullshit. I went and checked it out after I watched this video earlier. He got some great content on TikTok. But watch how he breaks this shit down. This is amazing.
Pretty good now. Now this immigrant group flew under the radar so much, but they're responsible for so much.
And he's speaking about the Italians, y'all. He's speaking about the Italians.
Damage. It is criminal that is not talked about. I'm talking about the Italians. Now let's run down the list. Okay, we have the Irish, who became the police force, which were the old slave catchers. And we see how that relationship worked out, right?
And, you know, you hear a lot about Irish, like, you know, that they were oppressed and they were slaves and things like that, which I'm not discounting. What I need a lot of people to understand, I don't even think that they made...
No. They weren't no slaves. They were indentured servants for crimes and debts that they owe over there in Ireland. Let's keep it real. They didn't just get snatched up from Ireland and get brought over here and had to work for fucking free. No, they were working their debt off. They were not fucking slaves. And I don't like any of them white Irish folks saying that dumb shit. Yeah, that wasn't the situation for y'all.
Their connection worse than black people. But when you can't compare chattel slavery to any other slavery that happened in human history. Completely different. You know, even Africans that sold other black people, other Africans, right? It wasn't the same way. You could work your way out of that slavery. Chattel slavery was brutal. It was 400 years of, like, your whole life was nonstop. You were dehumanized. Your master could do whatever. You were property, right? A fun fact, like, if you ran away, like, they literally put insurance on us. We weren't, you know what I'm saying? So if we got killed or we ran away,
Wells Fargo,
they could get their money back.
Yeah, I don't get why no black people bank with Wells Fargo, Chase Bank. A lot of these banks, I don't know why y'all bank with them motherfuckers. Bank of America. Nah, they can't get my money, bro.
In fact, when slavery ended, they paid slave owners, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing. Like, stop having the struggle Olympics with us. It's not the same. I'm sorry. Nothing is going to compare. Even have no problems with the Jewish community, but even what Jews went through, I'm sorry. I feel like, shit, they got reparations for what happened to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna get into it.
We have the Chinese and the Arabs, which was kind of similar. They had the financial one. All their businesses were allowed to operate in our communities. Why was getting all these heat from the government, but they were allowed to foster and thrive upon us, but giving no respect or very little respect for us, okay, for all this money that we've been giving them. But now we come to the Italians, and the Italians was so foundational in the trajectory we have as Black Americans that we have to talk about it, okay? Now, just like with all groups, they get their hazing period. The Italians got their hazing period. And that's the only thing they want to talk about. Oh, they were the Black people of Europe and stuff. Yeah, everyone gets their hazing period. But then when their hazing period is done, you get their assignment against Black Americans. And what were the Italian assignment against Black Americans? They were the beginning of the chemical warfare against our people. They were the heroin dealers.
Yeah, everybody want to say we victims. Well, damn shit, we've been victimized our entire fucking existence here, literally. I mean, we ain't been shit but victims. So when I bring this stuff up, I'm not being a victim, my nigga. I'm pointing it out. You know what I'm saying? We in an era of raccoon ass niggas. I'm different. I move the other way. Anytime someone's doing some shit, I go the other way. And I see niggas going down that path. Oh, y'all tripping. Let's get back on point.
Point blank. That was their job. They were the heroin dealers to the inner cities. Only thing the inner city is code word for black part of town. We know about the Great Migration and things like that. And how when we go to these cities, you know, they were denying us jobs. They were red taping us. Oh, you have this zip code, we can't hire you, and all this stuff. So when people are down and stuff, they're looking for an escape. What happened? Where they turned to drugs. And that's where the Italians came.
That's why I say I just can't. It seems easy to say, oh, don't do drugs. Oh, get a job. Oh, don't join gangs. It sounds so easy to say, but come on. Obviously,
it always comes from the people that didn't have to go through anything, didn't have any barriers put in front of them. Yeah, maybe they grew up in a household that was poor, but guess what? You were just poor. You still could go out there as a white person and get a job. Like, you weren't literally like, okay, I could be poor and Black, and y'all not gonna hire me just because I'm Black. You can be poor and white and still get a job. You didn't have these obstacles put in place. You didn't have police consistently patrolling your neighborhoods, trying to hem you up for anything, locking random kids up for crimes that they didn't commit. You didn't have that problem. They weren't doing that in y'all communities. So it's always coming from the people that didn't have to deal with nothing, trying to tell people that have to deal with something that they just need to get over it. It's like, nah, bitch, you tripping because your gas price is high right now. We tripping because the motherfucking police done beat us up and took our money and goddamn made us walk home. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up.
Kids aren't going to want to go down this wrong path. This all they fucking see is negative. You're a product of your environment. Drugs around you, okay, I'm going to do, like, it's easier than what it is, bro. Okay? So I need y'all to study history and stop always looking at things through the white supremacy mindset, right? I'm not telling you to hold yourself back. You could do anything in 2026. You most definitely can. Look, I guess I'm a product of that shit. All right? I'm successful. We can do anything, but we also have to acknowledge and not look down on people that didn't get to where you're at, right?
And just like every other immigrant group, once you sign this deal with white supremacy against Black Americans, your underworld is allowed to thrive. And boy, did their underworld thrive. They can create entire generations. They made a whole ecosystem and called it the mob. They had structure, they had bosses, and all this was allowed to operate right under the nose of the FBI. Now imagine if the Bloods and the Crips had become so organized over generations that we were allowed to build entire cities with that money. That's what Las Vegas is. Right, that's what Jersey City, you know, right. Like a Boardwalk Empire, that show. That's what that's all about.
And the crazy thing, I'm sorry to cut bro off, he's spitting, man. But anytime we were left alone, we was thriving, we was doing our thing. It was greatness, and motherfuckers came and fucked it up. Right, every single time in America, they would come and burn this shit down, find an excuse. Oh, go in here, white lady, and say that this man did something to you. We don't come burn it down after. Every time it was some shit like that. But hey, we the victims, y'all. Yeah, I mean, shit, niggas been victim of, you know what I'm saying? You know, don't play that game. That's all we have been throughout history. Us bringing this up isn't victimhood, bro.
You ever watch the show Casino? It tells you right there. They were allowed to operate with such impunity that they were building cities off of mob money. That's how much of a pass they was given because their job was to subjugate us chemically with heroin. And they did it. And they did it for a long time. Okay? So this is something that I want to bring to Black Americans, that each immigrant group had the role against us. So when we say that, when our old elder teachers say we have no friends, we have no friends. It is more than that. We have enemy combatants that is working for white supremacy. And they've been doing it for generations. It didn't stop.
And a lot of it's siphon money out of the community, like with the Italians, the heroin, that's the drug shit. And then we can talk about the crack epidemic. We already know that was really fun, that war. They had the FBI and CIA was in on that one. But you look at how they do it with the Asian communities, it's always like an Asian food place around the black neighborhood, siphon that money out. Arabs, a lot of Arabs and Ethiopians and motherfuckers running the goddamn gas stations, siphon the money out of the black community. That's why the black dollar doesn't even circulate. Everybody else's money circulates amongst their community. Our shit, get it, is gone. And they put the infrastructure around where other people, other communities are put around us to get our money from us when we're not even allowed to get those same, like, motherfucker open up a gas station down the street. Oh, but he been saving for years to open up a gas station, but he can't get the approval from the city. But this motherfucker just came in on a plane or on a boat and automatically qualified. It's all about design, and that's why you see a lot of different groups always talking shit about Americans, like black Americans. It's like, dude, what the fuck did they tell y'all before y'all even got over here? Like, did one black American do something to you wrong one time or something? Or like what's going on? And I see a lot of people that are in that mindset. One person does something wrong to them, they blame everybody for it. That ain't the way at least ain't the way I think. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Up until the 1980s. And finally, in the 1980s, like the late 70s, all of a sudden, the federal government decided to get it back on us. You know what? We're going to start prosecuting these mobsters. That's been running these whole cities for generations. All of a sudden, why did they change their mind? Because in the 1980s,
1980s, I already know crack epidemic. The crack epidemic. I might say something else. Let's see.
Chemical of choice of weapon against black Americans shifted from heroin to crack cocaine. And you know who was bringing in the crack cocaine? The cartels. Now they don't have much of.
Hey, bro, he is like I'm telling you, bro. This is why I guess people say I have no accountability for black folks. When you look at history and you see the way these folks, they were so smart and intentional with disrupting the black community, it's no surprise to me why it is the way it is today. I can't see it through another lens, and I'm sorry, bro.
Hey everybody, Peach here, and today we're going to take a look at the Speediant's Gym Monster 2, which is an all.
Fuck that machine.
I'm sorry, bro. Like, just listen to that, bro. That the crack before that. Damn, bro.
Be used for the Italians anymore. All of a sudden, these prosecutions start coming. Big coincidence, right? And another thing, I think why they switched from heroin to crack cocaine, because we were utilizing heroin too much. Like all of our jazz and stuff and everything, we was able to channel it into creativity. I don't think they like that. They say, our hair's not tough enough. Those needles, man. I don't know how you could just stick yourself like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anyway, beyond my time. But that's what happened with the Italians, and that was the Italians' role. So when everyone talk about, oh, black and Italians like the blacks of Europe, no, they're not. Once their brief hazing period is over, they were charged with the chemical warfare against us, the first wave, and it was detrimental, especially for the older generation. Someone like me, you know, I'm in my early 40s. I wasn't really around like during the heroin and stuff.
You didn't get to
You
see
talk
that
to your
shit.
parents about how detrimental heroin was, and their parents. That was the Italians. That was their role against us. So don't let anyone tell you that there was any kind of solidarity between blacks and Italians. They were the weapon used against us right before this next wave, which I'm going to talk about in the next video.
I gotta get his brother Page a shout out. Y'all see it right here, man. Show him some love. He got a breakdown detailing the different, immigrant groups. He got Mexicans, the Arabs, Chinese, Irish. He broke it down, and this isn't us. We just pointing this shit out. Damn, he even got African and Caribbean, right? Y'all know my sentiment. I love all my black people. I'm not going to get into all the diaspora boys, but shit, the brother know what he talking about, man. So I would check out his channel. He owned that, man, and big shout out to him. But that's the end of this video, man. I hope you guys.
I mean, y'all go check him out, man, for real, because especially with everything is going on right now, we got a lot of anger and discontent going on in this country. And we obviously dealing with a fucking war right now, obviously. And shit, the economy ain't finna get no better. But for my folks out here, don't let these motherfuckers try to goddamn make us a scapegoat for their problems, bro. Because they always gonna do it anyways. But don't give you better be like Leonidas off of goddamn 300. Give to them nothing, but take from them everything. Fuck that. Stop giving shit away, man. Stop giving ground. Stop being that goddamn code switching ass, goddamn coon ass, Uncle Tom ass motherfuckers when you get around these people when they be saying disrespectful and rude ass shit. Now call that shit out, stand on something, man. Because you don't stand for nothing, you're gonna fall for everything. hopefully things will get better, but I don't see it happening no time soon, to be honest with y'all. But your boy about to get the fuck up out of here, man. I gotta cook. I ain't ate shit today. But man, y'all make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe, share, turn notifications on. I put in the chat the backup channel, man. We got a backup channel just in case, some funny stuff happened on YouTube. So y'all make sure y'all go to that goddamn link. YouTube, make sure y'all subscribe up, man, if y'all haven't. But yeah, man, we're gonna get the fuck up out of here. Appreciate all y'all, man. I'll catch y'all in the next one as always, man. Peace.